Alright, it's time for that moment when. Gameoverse pilot review, I guess. So, I obviously haven't recorded a lot lately. This was more, I think it won't take too long for me to discuss this, but I had seen a bunch of negative reception to this pilot, and normally when I hear negative reception of stuff, I tend to agree, and in this case, I do. To be fair, I already wasn't expecting to like this show. And that's not because it's glitch related, and that fully has to do with the fact that they they have Jay Slat as one of the actors, the VAs, and I immediately was like, oh no, I don't think he can act. And I actually think he's pretty decent in this. He was not the thing I took issue with in this show. There were actually a lot of other things that I was a lot less worried about that ended up being a lot more of an issue. So this show is nothing in comparison to a lot of other glitch shows. I mean, Knights of Guinevere is like that pilot is genuinely incredible. Obviously, we have Digital Circus, and I don't know how that last episode's gonna go. I know it got leaked. I haven't seen anything on it. I've been very lucky. But which I know it got leaked, but it wasn't even finished, so it's like, who cares? It might not even be the same thing anymore. But either way, I know there was. I mean, Murder Drones is fine. It's very polarizing. I have issues with it, narrative wise, but it's a very pretty show. This show, the intro sequence, is really poorly animated, or at the very least, it's not really up to snuff with the rest of the episode. It's a very bad opener. It's also very melodramatic. There's a lot of melodramatic scenes in this episode that are just really lame, and I can't bring myself to care about the characters. There's just nothing here for me to grab onto, unfortunately. Some of the VAs are really annoying. We have the Dolphin Guy's VA, which I think it sounds like either one of the Game Grumps, like Aaron or something's like really high pitch voice. That's what it sounds like to me, which I mean I would believe given, it's Robert Ross and he worked on Game Grumps and whatever. I know Markiplier also like endorsed this show apparently, which was random and kind of stupid. I don't feel like that was needed. And to be honest, I think I just don't. There's a reason. Like people were talking about, there's a reason why this show was not greenlit for so long, and that's just because there's not a lot here. I actually do like the premise. I don't know if there's other shows that have had the premise. I do like the premise, having, a video game kind of related thing. Video game related stuff in universe is usually lame, but I think having it where it's like, oh, if the hero wins, then the world gets destroyed. So the good guys want the bad guy to win, and vice versa. Is pretty neat. There were some good chuckle moments for me. I laughed a few times, which I think was sometimes more awkwardness, but sometimes I just thought it was a funny bit. There were like a couple bits. There were quite a few that I just fully rolled my eyes at, or was just like, this is kind of cringy. But like, there is a hit rate here, more than even some Digital Circus stuff. And that show, can be funny, or at least tries to be funny. But like, yeah, there's some definitely animated sequences that I don't like how either low FPS it is, or the sequencing of the shots, and all these things just feel very weird and off-putting. There's some, I feel like a lot of the VAs don't fit the characters well, or they're just kind of grating. I don't like the Larnosaurus or whatever. He's just kind of there, and he just sounds old. And if that's the bit, that he sounds old, but he's, not. He's very like mentally like not that old, or he's like learning a lot. It's like, this is kind of weird and lame, and I don't like it. And then the Dolphin guy is also kind of weird and lame. Um, like occasionally him being buff is funny in specific situations, but they kind of just spam it. So it's like kind of whatever. There are some animated sequences I do like, but like especially of them like kind of running around. They use this like pixel art map thing, like like an old Mario game or something, and it's like fine. Like the first time I'm like, oh, that's neat, and then they just kept reusing it, and I'm like, okay, well now you're just doing that. Um, there's a lot of people have been complaining about fan service. I agree. They did not need to put certain characters in like a bikini in that. That's just dumb, like and unnecessary. I don't know. Um, I know people were laughing about the most rewatched part being when Kit kept changing outfits, and I'm like, yeah, that's usually how it is, unfortunately. Um, and I know they did like the rival reveal at the end, where it's the people that Kit like beat, but I can't bring myself to care. Um, there's some cool again, there's like little bits of cool things. I doubt I'm gonna watch the actual rest of the show once it drops. I'm really not interested. Like I kind of like Kit's actual design. I do like Gobbles or whatever Jay Schlatt's character is in their design. I actually do like them too, and that's kind of it. Otherwise, it's like I plot wise and how heavy they're going into the like trauma whatever stuff. It's just whatever. Like so many other shows have done it so much better to a point where just feels like a nothing burger. And I've had problems with that with like Digital Circus 1, like a pilot, where it was like they were kind of just making, I don't know, Pomni a little too, like, seem a little too crazy or whacked out, and then Kane a little too crazy or whacked out, and it was just too much. And that pilot's not bad by any means. I generally have preferred it over the second episode due to you know the NPC stuff and whatever with Gummy Goo, but I yeah, this is certainly not the show I care about. Because yeah, no, they also have whatchamacallit, Gaslight District, and that's like a really visually incredible show with a plot I'm at least moderately interested in and world building I'm moderately interested in. Here it's like I think it's purely more of from a conceptual standpoint that this could be really cool, but I have the feeling the reason it wasn't, it didn't go into production earlier was because there wasn't enough of a substantial bit in the plot or because Ross wasn't willing to move on certain things. I really don't know. Like, I don't think Robert Ross is a bad guy or whatever. I really don't want to make judgment calls about him. I just know he's a guy who made really cool Mario Maker levels and he worked with Game Grumps, and and he died a lot in Among Us. Like, I really don't know much. Like, I've seen, because I've watched a lot of like Alpharad and stuff. I've watched a lot of stuff that he's been in, but like I know he's an artist. I do wonder if he animated that whole intro sequence and that's why it's so whatever. But I like really don't know. Like again, relative to the rest of the show, it just seemed very ugly. I and like the frame rate was just. And again, I like low frame rate for artistic choices. Again, I love Puss in Boots, like that, like low FPS thing with like the guy with the bell. I don't know, like the giant fight at the start of that movie is like incredible. It's very well done, and that's low FPS. Here, it just feels like unfinished, and I can't really explain why. And again, some of it is that you're having some awkward like shot sequencing where it doesn't feel very smooth, um, and all that. But I don't know. There's not really much else to say here. I just don't really care personally. I hope they're not getting a ton of hate. I think they are, and that's unfortunate. I think just because Glitch is such a high bar right now, and a show this kind of whatever, or like decent even, is just like not enough. Not even remotely enough when you're comparing to, again, like the one of the creators of like that Owl House, like working on a show that's like just such a big deal. And obviously something as massive as Digital Circus, it's like you can't really do. And even Gaslight is at least like very, very visually aesthetic, pleasing. Like there's not a lot here. I really don't get it. It also just feels very like half and half into the like kid friendly and not kid friendly, which I think is kind of lame. Um, it's like they're clearly trying to be at least a little adult, but so much of it because of the realm they're kind of talking in and everything, and how the characters act, it just makes it feel like it's much more targeted towards kids. So them using like not even like curse words or whatever, but like mild things is just a little. I don't know. I just feel very odd about it. Like a lot of the stuff in this show just kind of turns me off from wanting to. Like it's just very. I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. Um. I don't know. I mean, hey, I'm glad that Jay Schlatt's not annoying because I usually have it where when someone is just talking in their normal voice, it's very lame, and he generally shows enough emotion. Honestly, some better than some of the other kids. It's not that bad. Also, some of the dialogue's pretty bad. Some of it's fine, but it's just so generic. Like there's not enough here. I like maybe we'll talk about Planetronica, and that one I am slightly more interested in because the visuals are much more of the time, but that also has really bad sequencing and pacing. This also, the pacing here is not awful. It's okay. I think it's better than Planetronica. But that also was a very. I mean, that had way more fan service arguably than this, but I don't know. Anyway, if I'm forced to give this episode a rating, comparison to like all normal, it's probably like a 4. It's fine. It's like one tier below average. Like it's not bad, but it's not good. And I feel like there's smaller channels that do stuff like this better nowadays, even if it's a longer episode. I just don't get a whole lot out of it. Um, I don't want to be negative for the sake of being negative, and I would rather be positive because people are being negative, because it's like, hey, I want to point out these things because everyone's being negative. I want to, lift up a little bit, not just to, be a contrarian, but like, because again, this is a glitch show. I want glitch to be doing well. I want these people to be doing well. I just don't care about this, unfortunately. So yeah, I would give it like a 4 out of 10, personally. Um, Probably not going to continue watching it. I'm much more interested in Knights and Gaslight and the last episode of Digital Circus. Anyway, you know that moment when, yeah, this is like such a random upload, but I don't know.